#1 hospital in the United States. But seeing that one of the themes of the tour is firsts, Mass General is famous for a lot of medical firsts. It was the first hospital to perform a public, documented operation using ether as an anesthetic. It was the first to successfully reattach a severed limb, the first to use artificial or synthetic skin, and it was also the first to diagnose a patient using X-ray images. Some pretty neat medical firsts. Alright, I feel like we've kind of bonded so I can tell you this story. So, my dad always wanted me to be a doctor. Unfortunately, the sight of blood really skeeves me out, but he has recently discovered that if he just says duck tour really fast, it's almost the same thing. He's so proud. He just talks a little bit faster now when he goes to parties. Hey, how's PJ doing? She's great. She's a duck tour. Works for him. He sleeps. Certainly costs him a heck of a lot less money, too, I can tell you that much. Okay, speaking of duck tours, I want to tell you a little bit about this vehicle. These are pretty amazing vehicles. About 21,000 of them were made for World War II between the years of 1942 and 1945. By the way, they were built by women. Yeah, girls, that's what I'm talking about. 70-year-old vehicles still running. I wonder why. Of course, I had that guy on board earlier, so yeah, of course they were built by chicks. They couldn't decide between a boat or a truck. Keep your eyes peeled. He may still be out here. Now, us at Boston Duck Tours, we did not name the vehicle Duck. That's a name that was given to them during World War II. They were DUKWs. Now, that had to do with their suspension, their axles, four-wheel drive, the year they were built. Soldiers nicknamed them Ducks. That's where it came from. We also haven't made a whole lot of changes to them since the war. We added automatic transmission, the seats, the ceilings, all of the Coast Guard required stuff. I'm sure they weren't peach. But other than that, these are pretty much them. Now, this particular duck is a little bit different. You may be disappointed to find out that this is not an original vessel. She was not part of the war. However, you may be equally as excited to find out that she is, in fact, green. This girl here is a biodiesel. She's one of now 23 of our ducks we've transformed so far. See, original ducks have a very small engine under the hood. Straight six. It's like a Chevy Nova. It's not a very powerful engine, and it is gas-powered, not diesel. Now, gas prices being what they have been, and the environment being what it is, we're going green at Boston Duck Tours, so we're pretty excited about it. But don't get me wrong, we do have originals left in our fleet. Anytime you see a duck with an open back deck to it, that's an original. They have a pointier bow. They're a little bit smaller than these. But I'll tell you what, the fact that there are originals left in all is pretty impressive if you think about it. I mean, for example, D-Day, the invasion of Normandy. Guys, over 600 ducks were involved in that one invasion alone. P.S. This is about top speed for a duck that night. Have you seen the first 20 minutes of Saving Private Ryan? Yeah, the fact that there are originals left in all is amazing. They estimate that out of the 21,000 of them made for the war, probably only about 1,000 are left. But a lot of them are operating tours in cities throughout the world. Now you can imagine when I first found out that my duck was being replaced, I was actually pretty bummed out. I thought it was so cool that I drove an original. Plus, my duck was one of the nicer ones. Then I got behind the wheel of this puppy. Think about it. Ducks were built for the army. They weren't built with, comfort and all. No shocks, no springs, no such. You look at the Cadillac of ducks right here. Took me about 10 seconds to get used to it. I'll keep working. I like to look at the old ducks. They look me. I will drive my new one. Thank you very much. You also may have looked up on our ceiling inside of the duck here, guys. Noticed Kilroy was here. Painted everywhere. Everyone asks about him, especially real little kids. And this may not even be the first time you've ever seen him. We made him our mascot. But the truth is, James Kilroy was a real guy during World War II. He worked in the Fall River Shipyard down in Quincy, Massachusetts. He he was a rivet pelter. Back then, when you were a shipbuilder, you would get paid by the rivet. So Kilroy would count a row of rivets, put a chalk check mark at the end of each row he had counted to keep track. Eventually, the shipbuilders realized that if they erased Kilroy's chalk check mark, they could get paid for the same row of rivets twice. Kilroy caught on. So instead of using chalk, he would use ink, paint, or crayon and write, "Kilroy was here," at the end of every row. This is World War II we're talking about, right? They were trying to pump on ships as fast as possible. They certainly didn't bother thinking of it all when they were done. So now these sailors were on these ships, however long it took to get overseas, and all they could see all over their ship was Kilroy was here. They didn't know why, they didn't know the story, but it became something kind of like American pride. When they got overseas, they painted Kilroy was here all over everything. So we added him to our ducks to make them a little bit more authentic. Well, it's kind of a fun story. So guys, remember, when we splashed in, I changed our truck into a duck. Well, it's just about time to turn our duck back into a truck. So I'm going to put our wheels back into gear. Now this time I'm putting them into 4-wheel drive. And that's really just to help us climb up the ramp up ahead of us. So in a moment, when I step on the gas, 4 of our wheels and our propeller will all be spinning underneath us. A little louder, a little more vibration. Speaking of vibration, how you guys doing in the back? It's like a Brookstone chair back there, isn't it? There you go, tour and massage. No extra charge. Look at Val Vincent Van Dyke off our port side there. So once we clear the bridge, we just wait for the wheels start touching ground again. Get a little bit bumpy again back there, so hang on. Alright guys, here we go. Front wheels are up. And back wheels, we don't need the propeller anymore, I can check that out. Another successful landing for Captain PJ, alright. You'd be cheering if you knew my track record. Back in a 2-wheel drive, so that was the river. Not bad, right? She was. Now we have passed a couple of other ducks. I don't know if you noticed at all. You may have noticed when you were back at the duck stop, but did you see that all of our ducks are named? Most of them are named by area school children. We have